You've heard people say, you should write every day. But do they mean that? I mean, do they mean that you should literally write every day, sit down and be writing every day? Well, the short answer, no. And we're going to pull that apart today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for liking if you find value. Subscribe if you haven't done that. I really do appreciate those things, just interacting some. If you have questions about stuff, drop them in the comments below. There's also some links below. Please be sure to check those out. One about story structure, screenwriting class. It might be of interest to you, especially if you're new and just wanting to learn some of the basics of screenwriting. Screenwriting Fast Track, check that out below. As I'm recording this, it will be live in a week or two, so click on that link if that's of interest to you. Thank you again for watching. Let's not waste any more time. Let's jump in. There is a reason that this phrase, you should write every day, is so common. It's because you want to be a writer, and writers write. I mean, that's what we do. So if you want to be an accountant, you account every day. If you want to be a professional sports player of some kind, you practice your sport, you play your sport every day. You do it all the time. That's why this notion of write every day for writers is there. But it doesn't really mean that you should literally be writing every day. And let's pull that apart just a little bit. When someone says that you should write every day, what they're really saying is you should be working on the craft of writing every day. That doesn't mean that you have to be literally writing, but it does mean you have to be intentionally working on your craft. Intentionally working. You've probably heard the phrase, it takes 10,000 hours to master any craft. Screenwriting is a craft. You have to take the time to master it. You have to study it, you have to practice it, you have to work at it, you have to watch things, you have to read things, you have to pay attention to things. So what you're doing right now, just watching this video, helping you work on the craft a little bit of screenwriting and what does this mean and how do I process this and how do I integrate writing into my life, that's part of it, right? So in some ways you are writing right now just by watching this video. Congratulations! But what you want to understand is you can't just say, I'm going to be a writer and not work on anything. And for you, you have to understand what are all the components of screenwriting. Do you understand what story structure is? Do you know what inciting incident is? Do you know what that is? Do you know what the storytelling tool of dramatic irony is? Do you know what that is? Do you know how to use it? Do you know how it works? Do you know what Deus Ex Machina is? And should you use it? Should you avoid it? Like, those are questions you should be thinking about. What about a character arc or a scene? How do you even know what a scene is? Like, how can you fix a scene if you don't even know what it is? So you have to understand a lot of the basics. If you want more information on some of the basics, just like how do I get started? What are some of the basic tools, the basic things, all that stuff? There is a class, I've linked it below, Screenwriting Fast Track. Be sure to check that out. But you can do a lot of stuff, not just with that class. I mean, watch videos like this, read books, read screenplays, watch TV shows, watch movies, watch the things that you're wanting to create, and don't just watch them. Try to break them apart. What is a character arc? How is the character moving through here? How many scenes are there? How many scenes are with the main character in this TV show, and how many scenes are with supporting characters in this TV show? I mean, break those down, map them out. That helps you learn. Study and spend time studying and working on the craft. That's what writing every day means. At the same time, you still have to write. So it doesn't just mean that you just study. You can't just read books, just watch videos, just take classes, just do those things and not ever write a word, okay? You're not gonna get there. That's not it. You still gotta actually practice the craft. You still have to spend time in the gym, right? I've just gotta sit at the computer and work on it. So you have to do those things if you wanna be a writer. That's what part of writing every day means. Some new writers also, when they start working on a script, they kind of get lost in the weeds of research. I mean, they're researching, I'm researching. This is important for my story, It's like, yeah, but at some point you got to write the story. So you can't research the whole time. Now, keep in mind that screenwriting is a long game. It takes a long time to write a screenplay. And you'll hear people like, oh, I pounded this out in a couple of days. Okay, well, I can guarantee you that draft is no good. And you still went back and you revised and you worked on it, or you'd been thinking about it a lot. There's a lot of things that go into writing a screenplay. So it's not ever a super quick process. There's lots of things that come to bear. Try to not think about writing every day as a short-term view. Like, step back like 20,000, 100,000 feet. Okay, we're looking at this from the really big picture. And how does that translate to the time that you are spending? I mean, if you look at, let's say, 4 months, okay? So you got 4 months of your life that you're trying to work on screenwriting. Are you going to work on like screenwriting, like actual literally writing every day of those? No, you're not. For you, it might break down like this. Maybe for 1 month, you're just working on the craft. What are the tools? What are the things I need to learn? How do I do this? How do I do that? You might be spending 2 of those 4 months working on a story, like planning it out, organizing it, figuring out who's the character, what about this arc, what about this one, all those kinds of things. And then you might actually spend a month writing. So of the 4 months, and it's not going to be like 1 month here, 2 months here, 1 month here. It's just going to be like craft here, planning here, craft here, writing here, planning here, craft. It's going to be like that. And over 4 months, you're going to spend about 1 month on the craft, about 2 months on planning, about 1 month on writing, give or take. Now, that may change depending on your skill level. Maybe when you're starting out, you spend more time working on the craft and practicing the craft and less time writing a story, because if you understand the nuts and bolts, it's going to be easier for you to write that story when it comes time to do that. So maybe you're spending a little more time working on the craft, studying the craft. What is structure? What is story elements? What is storytelling elements? And you start figuring those things out. And then when you sit down to actually start writing, it's a little faster and a little easier for you. So just realize it's a long-term game, that you've got a lot of time to spend here working on your craft, and all of those pieces are writing every day. Now, you might get a retort from somebody of like, well, Stephen King writes every day. Well, yeah, but he's been writing for a long time. He has a really great understanding of story structure. He understands the difference between story and storytelling. He knows what tools to employ when trying to tell a story. He knows what tools to employ when storytelling. He knows how to do all those things. So he doesn't have to spend as much time learning the craft. He's already learned the craft. He's spending his time writing. So the more you learn the craft, the more you're going to be able to write later on. So it's a combination of both. So yes, write every day means work on the craft every day. And keep in mind, this also includes professional activities, things like networking. And we haven't really been able to like go in person to things as a result of COVID, but there are some online things. There's online groups. There's forums that you can participate in. There's other ways to network and to be involved with other people and to engage in storytelling and the storytelling community. You can read books, you can watch TV shows, you can watch films, you can rewatch films, you can study films, break films apart, find a script for a film that you like and are familiar with, rewatch the film, read the script, see what's going on, how are they different, how are they the same. You're gonna start learning a lot just by doing those things. So you want to invest yourself in the craft of writing and understanding the craft. That doesn't mean you have to literally write every day, but it does mean you have to be intentionally working on the craft every day. Hopefully this has been helpful to you. If it has, please be sure to like, subscribe, bell, all those things. I really do appreciate it. Be sure to work on the craft of storytelling every day. Screenwriting is a wonderful thing. It's a great thing, and our world needs excellent stories. So when you sit down to actually tell a story and you're literally writing, tell a story that matters. See you later.